Chase, this is an overview of your lesson yesterday for the putting. So as far as your stroke's concerned, there's a few things we want to do differently. One, we want to try and get your putter longer so you're not so crouched over and your arms don't have to extend out so far. Two, with your setup, we're trying to get that left arm up and equal with your right arm. And that's purely just a function of how much distance you have between your rib cage and your back of your left arm, or to the back of your forearms, the top part of your upper arms and your rib cage. So your elbows and your rib cage distance apart. Currently, we can't see it specifically from this angle, but it takes your backswing a long way to get to a point where you can actually see your left arm. We want to try and get your setup in a way that gets your left arm higher and up and out away from your rib cage. That will allow the club to swing back and through more correctly rather than having to manipulate it with your hands. So that's the things we talked about with setup. As far as the swing's concerned, we talked about a few different points. One was to do with how the direction of the club was swinging. We can see with this one here, it goes outside and then swings across to the left coming through. In the very end you can see the blocking motion, and that's the shaft blocking. If we look from the front view, we'll also see the club in a blocking motion coming through. We can see how the handle works. When the handle works back, the ball position is too far back here, which we talked about, we addressed. When the club comes through though, there's a pushing motion, and that's not as bad as what you can do. On the course, a lot of times, you get the handle really advancing and pushing through and working through too early on the way through, and as the club comes through the impact zone. So we've got to get a little more of a hitting motion. So we gave you some different drills. I'm going to bring a couple of those up. The first motion that we talked about was a drill for you to give you a feel of how to hit. So that's this drill. So more assertive, hands rock it back, hands hit it in. Your hands are controlling this whole motion. But the main idea with this is that we're trying to get you to be the boss of the ball. So we're going to have more, we call it a wrap feeling. It's a hit and stop kind of feel where you're delivering power back to the ball, or delivering power to the ball with some more authority, some more assertive motion. So there's a lot that we're talking about here that's going to change. The number one thing we're trying to achieve by doing this is that you're being more aggressive with your putting. We're trying to have your ball roll more aggressively, more assertively towards the hole. Your balls tend to trundle up there and just finish around the hole too much. We need to have the speed that your putts are rolling at to be much faster and more aggressive when they get to the hole. So this is the first drill. This is obviously going to create some different feels. I'll give you a look at how what this created with your actual swing and your motion. And as you can see here, you can feel for the head of the club swinging back. Okay, looks really good. The one thing we also addressed here was we put the ball up forward in your stance. We also created a practice situation for you with the line-up sticks down here on the ground, and I drew on the green one. We put some numbers there so you could see how far back and through you're swinging. We want roughly equal distance. With this drill here, I actually wouldn't mind the backswing being slightly longer than the follow-through, what we're trying to achieve with this. And we can see from your putting stroke, this looks really, really good. The black mamba strikes again. So the other portion of the lesson, we talked about direction of swing movement, and we gave you, I'll let you borrow my my belly putter with the view of also the same motion going back and through. So when the belly putter when you were looking down at the belly putter, you had some 3 or 4 or 5 inches of the handle sticking out at the end over your grip. With that extra end of the grip there, you could see if your hands were hinging and releasing the club backwards and forwards correctly. When you swing the putter back, the handle end at the top of the grip of the belly putter should be moving towards your left wrist, and then when you swing it through, it should be working towards your right wrist. Your tendency is to have it not do much going back, then work towards your left wrist coming through, which creates a blocking, slicing motion. Swiping, slicing motion. So the idea with this longer putter is to give you A longer putter is to change the way that you stand. We need to get you standing more upright, so your hands are more inclined to move rather than not move. If you bend over more and have a shorter putter, you take your hands out of the putting stroke a lot. So we want to try and have a longer putter, which is going to encourage your hands to get back into the stroke. The lines in the ground here were to give you a guide of where the putter is supposed to swing. We can see now by looking down here, there's a very small distance between the heel side of this ghost putter here, the spider putter, and the green line-up stick on the inside there. So when you swing back, it's going to get closer, which is perfect right there. And then when it swings through, it's also going to get closer. Now this one here was a pretty good putt, but you can see in the finish how the stroke still worked a little bit too much to the left. You can see it through here. It's still going a bit more left than what we wanted it to, but it's definitely better, and that's what you need to practice right now. We need to get that stroke swinging through back through the impact zone more squarely. Okay, that looks pretty good, mate. So that's the practice. The other thing we've talked about as far as the back and through goes, when you're making strokes, I want you to practice some from a short distance, from say 2.5, 3 feet, then out to about this distance, which is about 6, 7 feet, then I want a bit further as well, maybe 8, 9 feet. And the objective is you want to try and look at the putt swinging through, and just sort of watch generally where it's moving. Those sticks on the ground give you a very good guide. I want you to hit some putts just watching the head of the putter and which way it's moving through, and we want to try and get you moving the putter through equal distance back and through. So the numbers we've drawn on, we started with 0, and we had 1 inch to the right, 1 inch to the left, and then vice versa the whole way back and through out to about 12. So when you go back and through, if you're say going from 11 on the backswing, we want 11 on the follow through, and I want you to notice how close or how far across the head of the putter gets to the line. It should be equal on the backswing as what it is on the follow through with the arc. It shouldn't be swinging any more left on the backswing or any more left on the follow through, any more across that green stick. So that's all we talked about in our session basically yesterday. You've got a lot there to practice, and we'll get more into some other points with putting as well to improve it even further, but that's what we started with, and you need to do a lot of practice of that just to groove that stroke in so we can then start working on some more skill-based activities. Good luck.